Have you ever felt, at some point in your life, that you've been through that situation before? That place, that conversation, or even that sensation seemed strangely familiar, as if your soul had already experienced it in another time? If so, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover can truly change the way you view your existence and your daily experiences. Many people go through this without understanding what it truly means, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The signs of reincarnation and how our souls can carry memories from past lives that directly influence who we are now. For more than half a century, Emmanuel, the spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, left us profound teachings and messages that reveal how we can identify these experiences and recognize the traces of our past lives. Emmanuel didn't just speak in theory. His words were psychographed with precision and care, carrying an undeniable spiritual authority that still inspires thousands of people to reflect on their own journeys. It is precisely through these messages that we will explore the 9 clear signs that indicate you've lived other lives. Have you ever noticed? For example, an inexplicable affinity with certain places or cultures, even though you've never traveled there, or felt an instant connection with someone you just met, as if that person had been part of your story for a long time. These are just a few subtle clues that Emmanuel pointed out as signs of past experiences, and you may be recognizing yourself in some of them right now. Stay with me, because we'll detail each of these signs, showing how they manifest in our daily lives, so you can identify them in yourself and better understand your own spiritual journey. It's amazing how our choices, our passions, and even our fears can be linked to previous lives. Emmanuel reminds us that reincarnation isn't just a distant or abstract concept. It manifests itself in the way we feel, act, and relate to the world around us. And if you've ever wondered why certain lessons seem to repeat themselves in your life, or why certain challenges seem familiar, what we're about to reveal may deeply surprise you. After all, recognizing the signs of reincarnation is like opening a window into understanding your own soul, allowing you to see connections that previously seemed invisible. Throughout this video, you'll realize that signs of reincarnation aren't just mere coincidences. They have patterns, meanings, and, above all, a reason for being present in your life now. You'll discover how to interpret these experiences, how to observe the details that often go unnoticed, and how these clues can offer valuable insights into who you truly are. The journey we're about to embark on together isn't just about the past or mystery. It's about self-discovery and the awakening of spiritual consciousness, guided by Emmanuel's wisdom. So, if you've ever felt something inexplicable, something that seems to echo from other lives, prepare to look at your own story in a completely new way. What you'll discover now could transform the way you see yourself and how you understand the experiences that shape your existence. Stay with me, because we're about to explore signs so clear that once identified, they can forever change your perception of life, the soul, and the journey each of us takes on this plane and beyond. And it's precisely from these signs that we'll begin to uncover the first step toward recognizing how many lives you've already lived, have. You ever wondered why certain events in your life seem to repeat themselves? Or why some situations awaken a sense of déjà vu, as if your soul had experienced them before? Perhaps you've felt an immediate affinity with people you've just met, or an inexplicable connection with places you've never visited. These feelings aren't just coincidences. According to Emmanuel, they are clear signs of past experiences, vestiges of previous lives that continue to influence our journey today. Stay with me until the end, because what you discover now may reveal aspects of your own story that you never imagined. Emmanuel has always taught that reincarnation is not just an abstract or distant concept, but a practical reality that manifests itself in subtle ways in our daily lives. Every sudden memory, every innate talent, every inexplicable fear, all of these can be interpreted as clues left by experiences lived in other lives. Have you ever noticed how some people master skills naturally, without ever having studied or practiced? Or how certain fears arise for no apparent reason? Emmanuel explains that these manifestations are lessons our soul carries from existence to existence, ways in which we learn, evolve, and prepare for the present. Imagine, for a moment, that your soul is like an ancient traveler, traversing different periods and experiences, accumulating memories, emotions, and learnings. Some of these memories manifest themselves almost imperceptibly: a preference for certain places, an attraction to certain historical periods, an intense empathy for specific people or causes. Perhaps you've already felt this without realizing it. An inner calling or a familiarity with something that, logically, should be foreign to you. Emmanuel invites us to pay close attention to these sensations, for hidden within them are the signs that reveal how many lives our soul has already traveled. Another fascinating point Emmanuel highlights is the presence of repeated lessons. We often encounter challenges or patterns that seem to insist on repeating themselves in our lives. What causes us pain, fear, or difficulty, according to spiritual teachings, is precisely what our soul still needs to understand and overcome. Recognizing these lessons is realizing that each life is not just a coincidence, but part of a larger process of learning and evolution. And the most impressive thing is that when we begin to identify these memories and patterns, everything around us, our choices, relationships, and even intuitions, begins to make more sense. Perhaps you've experienced moments when you felt certain decisions were guided by something greater, as if there were an inner wisdom coming from a place you couldn't rationally explain. This is the essence of what Emmanuel teaches us. Our soul not only lives, but carries with it the continuity of all experiences. And every detail of our present life is connected to what we experienced before. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we'll explore concrete signs of these past lives. Examples you might recognize in yourself that will open your eyes to a deeper understanding of who you truly are. When we begin to examine our memories, talents, fears, and choices from this perspective, we realize that reincarnation is more than a spiritual concept. It's a key to understanding our own existence, our relationships, and the purpose of our journey. What you discover now may surprise you, revealing a line of continuity between the past and the present, between what your soul has already experienced and what is yet to come, paving the way for the clear signs Emmanuel left us to recognize the lives we've already lived. Have you ever felt, at some point in your life, that certain experiences seem to repeat themselves, or that certain people, places, and situations awaken in you an inexplicable sense of familiarity? Perhaps you've felt an instant connection with someone you just met, or an inexplicable attraction to a place you've never visited. If so, you've experienced something that Emmanuel, the spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier and became a reference in spiritual messages, would classify as clear signs of reincarnation. Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover now may surprise you and reveal a new way of seeing your own life. According to Emmanuel, our soul carries records of past experiences that directly influence our present. It's not just memory or imagination, but deep impressions that manifest in various aspects of daily life. Have you ever noticed how some people have natural talents, as if they've already practiced certain skills before they even learn them? Or how certain fears arise out of nowhere, for no apparent reason, and seem to be rooted in something older? These are examples of how past lives leave subtle but powerful signs that shape who we are and how we react to the world around us. Imagine feeling an immediate affinity for a culture, a language, or even a historical period. You may have never studied or visited these places, but there's something inside you that simply recognizes, understands, and connects. Emmanuel teaches us that this perception is no mere coincidence. It's the memory of past experiences, echoes of lives that still resonate in our souls. Have you ever experienced this and wondered why certain things seem so familiar? These deep connections are an invitation to reflect on your own spiritual journey and realize that there's more to your story than meets the eye. Another sign Emmanuel highlights is the feeling of an inexplicable mission or purpose. We often feel drawn to certain causes, professions, or lifestyles for no apparent logical reason. This intense attraction can be a reflection of lessons from previous lives that continue to guide and shape our path. Have you ever caught yourself thinking you were born to do something specific, as if your soul already knew this mission before you even realized it? These signs reveal the continuity of existence and show that life is not random, but rather a process of continuous learning. Furthermore, spontaneous memories and vivid dreams can be windows into past experiences. Have you ever dreamed of places or events that seem real, even though you've never experienced them in your current life? Emmanuel explains that these moments are records your soul keeps, ways of warning us, teaching us, or simply reminding us of who we are. They are subtle but valuable clues that help us understand recurring patterns, fears, passions, and even relationships. Have you ever felt irresistibly attracted to, or conversely repelled by, someone without understanding why? Emmanuel points out that these intense connections can reflect bonds from past lives, relationships that recur, or relationships that still need to be balanced in this lifetime. Observing these signs, therefore, is not only curious, but deeply revealing, offering clues about your soul's evolution and the paths you're taking today. And then there's the feeling of déjà vu, that unshakable certainty that something has happened before. This phenomenon is more than a mere impression. For Emmanuel, it's a direct manifestation of past life experiences, a warning from the soul that certain situations are linked to lessons that need to be understood and assimilated. Throughout this video, you'll notice that signs of reincarnation are all around you, often invisible, but always present. They manifest in feelings, decisions, talents, fears, and relationships, offering a subtle map to understanding who you truly are. What you'll discover now will open a door to seeing your life from a new perspective, revealing patterns and connections you may never have imagined and paving the way for a deeper understanding of how many lives your soul has lived. Have you ever stopped to reflect on your life and asked yourself what it truly means to your soul? How many times have you felt that certain experiences, encounters, or challenges seem to have a greater purpose, something beyond what meets the eye? If you've been through this, then you know there's something deep within us that connects past, present, and future in ways we often can't comprehend. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now could completely transform how you view your own existence and your soul's path. According to Emmanuel, a spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier and became a reference in spiritual messages, each life we live carries with it essential lessons. Our current existence is not isolated. It is the result of past experiences and, at the same time, a preparation for what is yet to come. Every joy, every challenge, every meaningful encounter serves as a lesson our soul needs to assimilate. Have you ever wondered why certain lessons seem to repeat themselves, or why some patterns insist on emerging, no matter how hard we try to ignore them? These signs are not coincidental. They are indicative of an ongoing process of spiritual growth that spans different lives. Think, for example, of the connections we feel with certain people, the inexplicable affinities, or the tensions that arise for no apparent reason. Emmanuel reminds us that these interactions carry echoes from past lives. Perhaps you felt instant empathy, or conversely, a profound estrangement from someone you've just met. These feelings may seem mysterious, but in reality, they're the soul remembering past experiences, trying to guide us and teach us something valuable. What you'll discover now may open your eyes to patterns that were previously invisible, showing that every relationship and every situation has a much greater purpose than we imagine. And when we look at our own talents, fears, and passions, we begin to realize that they didn't arise by chance. Emmanuel teaches us that natural abilities, powerful intuitions, and even certain emotional blocks often stem from lessons from previous lives. It's as if our soul carries an invisible map, showing us paths, opportunities, and challenges that must be faced in order for us to evolve. Have you ever felt like you were born for something specific, even without knowing exactly what it is? Or that certain experiences repeat themselves in your life until you finally understand their lesson? These signs are closer to you than you think, and can be perceived if we pay attention to the subtleties of everyday life. Now, imagine if we could observe our own experiences from this perspective, recognizing each challenge and each achievement as part of a larger journey. Each life prepares us for the next, and each experience, no matter how small, has profound meaning. Emmanuel invites us to reflect on our journey, to look within and realize that everything we experience, each love, each obstacles, an invitation to our spiritual evolution. Have you ever wondered what your soul is learning right now, through everything you're experiencing at this very moment? As we begin to notice these signs, we begin to see our lives with more clarity and compassion, understanding that we are not alone and that each experience has a purpose. What you will discover next is not just about reincarnation, but about understanding who you truly are, what lessons you still need to learn, and how these learnings can transform the way you live, love, and relate to the world around you. Stay with me, because the journey we are about to embark on will reveal details that can change your perception of life, the soul, and everything that seems invisible, but is actually present in every moment of your existence. If this topic resonates with you, I'd like to invite you to do something special right now. Leave a comment with what has touched you most so far. It could be an experience you've experienced in your own life, an inexplicable sensation that has always intrigued you, or even a feeling that arose when you heard about these signs of reincarnation. Each comment isn't just a way to share your story. It helps create a real connection between us and strengthens this community that seeks to understand life, the soul, and the mysteries that Emmanuel brought to us. And if, throughout this video, you're feeling connected to the ideas we're exploring, click like. This simple gesture isn't just an acknowledgement of the content. It shows that you value these reflections and that you want to see more videos like this. Your direct participation helps the channel reach more people who, like you, are searching for answers, self-knowledge, and spiritual messages that truly make a difference. Furthermore, subscribing to the channel is a way to continue this journey together. By subscribing, you ensure you won't miss future videos, which will delve even deeper into these signs of reincarnation and Emmanuel's teachings, offering practical reflections that can transform the way you live each day. More than just numbers, each subscription represents people interested in evolving, understanding the soul, and sharing this search for meaning with others. Your presence here makes all the difference, not only for you, but for everyone seeking these answers, and for the growth of the channel, allowing more people to access these messages that invite us to reflect, feel, and understand our own existence more deeply. So, as we continue exploring every detail of the signs Emmanuel revealed to us, consider how you can connect with these experiences. Share your insights, like if they resonate with you, and subscribe to continue following this journey. Your every gesture, every comment, and every subscription is a step toward strengthening this network of people who, like you, are open to understanding life and the soul in their multiple dimensions. And now, with this in mind, let's move forward, discovering the next aspect that can reveal even more about how many lives you've lived. Have you ever felt, inexplicably, like you've lived before? That certain situations, people, or places seem familiar, even though you're absolutely certain you've never encountered them. Perhaps you've walked into a place and suddenly felt a deep connection, as if your soul had been there in another time, in another life. Or perhaps you felt an instant bond with someone, an empathy, or even a tension you can't explain. These experiences may seem like small coincidences, but according to Emmanuel, a spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier and became a world reference in psychographic spiritual messages, they are much more than they appear. They are clues, subtle fragments of past lives, echoes of your own soul that still resonate in the present. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover now could change the way you understand your existence, your choices, and even the challenges that seem to recur throughout your life. Emmanuel reminds us that reincarnation is not just a distant or abstract concept. It is a practical reality, manifesting itself in seemingly small, everyday details that have a profound impact on how we feel and act. Every feeling of déjà vu, every inexplicable talent, every sudden fear or attraction are signs that our soul holds memories and lessons from other lives. Have you ever noticed that some people master certain skills without apparent effort, or that some situations seem to repeat themselves in your life, as if there were an invisible script guiding each step. Emmanuel explains that all of this is part of a greater spiritual journey, a process of evolution that spans lifetimes, shaping our mindset, our decisions, and our way of perceiving the world. Imagine your soul as an ancient traveler, carrying with it invisible records of experiences lived in different times, cultures, and places. These experiences manifest themselves in subtle ways: an inexplicable affinity with certain people, an attraction to places you've never visited, an intense sensitivity to certain situations. Perhaps you've already experienced this and couldn't name it. This feeling of familiarity, this silent perception, it's the soul remembering itself, sending signals that there's something greater behind what we're experiencing now. And the more you learn to observe these clues, the clearer the connection between what you've already experienced and what you're experiencing now becomes. It's like beginning to see behind the scenes of your own existence, revelations that only become perceptible when you're willing to pay attention. Another fascinating point Emmanuel brings to us is the notion of lessons that span life. We often face challenges that seem to insist on repeating themselves. Patterns we can't completely break, fears that arise out of nowhere. What if I told you that these situations aren't failures or punishments, but rather opportunities for the soul to learn, evolve, and adjust the course of our journey? Every obstacle, every conflict, every situation that stirs our emotions is a piece of the larger puzzle of our existence. Our trajectory isn't random. It carries a profound purpose, and the impact of these experiences is even more significant. When we realize we're dealing with something that transcends the present, and surprisingly, these signs also manifest themselves in our relationships and everyday choices. Have you ever felt an immediate connection with someone you just met, or an inexplicable strangeness with another person for no apparent reason? Emmanuel teaches us that these impressions are echoes of previous lives. Relationships that span time, which may have been harmonious or conflicting, and which continue to manifest so that we can understand, forgive, or strengthen certain bonds. Likewise, passions, abilities, and intuitions that arise naturally can be latent memories, fragments of past experiences that become relevant in our current lives. It's incredible to realize that every detail of our existence can carry hidden meanings, truths that only reveal themselves when we begin to look beyond the surface. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because the more we begin to observe these clues, the more we realize that they are not isolated. Each sign, each perception, each strange or familiar sensation is part of a complex network that connects the past, present, and future of our soul. Emmanuel shows us that recognizing these clues is not just a spiritual curiosity. It is a way to transform our perception of ourselves and the decisions we make, the paths we choose to follow, and the mindset we cultivate toward life. When we understand that we are dealing with the continuity of our own essence, we begin to see possibilities, opportunities, and learning in ways that were previously invisible. It is as if our consciousness awakens to a hidden truth that has always been there, waiting to be recognized. And as we explore these discoveries, we also realize that this life carries the weight and beauty of all previous lives. Every memory, every talent, every fear, every emotion is part of a larger story, unfolding uniquely for each soul. The impact of these insights goes far beyond the individual. It invites us to reflect on our choices, how we relate to others, and how we seize each learning opportunity. Everything begins to make sense in a way that blends emotion, logic, and intuition, revealing the complexity of our own journey and preparing us to perceive signs that had previously gone unnoticed. And at this point, when we begin to open ourselves to these revelations and perceive the intertwining of our experiences, it's impossible not to feel part of something greater, of an invisible community that spans time and space, formed by souls seeking understanding and evolution. Each reflection, each insight, each connection that emerges from these signals brings us closer to a profound truth that we are always learning, always evolving, and that each decision, each step, carries an echo of past lives and a preparation for what is yet to come. Comment there. I'm on this journey too. Have you ever stopped to consider that everything you feel, desire or fear, may have roots much older than you imagine? That certain passions, abilities, or even emotional blocks didn't arise out of nowhere, but are echoes of experiences your soul has lived in other lives? Emmanuel, the spirit who worked with Chico Xavier and became a global reference in spiritual messages, always emphasized that reincarnation is not just an abstract concept, but a concrete reality that manifests subtly in our daily lives. Every feeling of déjà vu, every inexplicable attraction to a place or culture, every immediate connection with a stranger, all of these can be interpreted as signs that our soul carries memories of past experiences. Ready to teach us something essential now? Imagine, for a moment, that every decision you make, every path you choose is not isolated, but part of a larger sequence of learning. Emmanuel reminds us that our current journey is shaped by lessons accumulated over several lifetimes. Perhaps you've felt a natural inclination toward a certain activity, or a talent that emerges effortlessly, or even that inexplicable fear that seems to insist on recurring, even without logical reason. All these elements are clues to the soul's continuity, fragments of experiences that continue to manifest so we can understand, evolve, and make more conscious decisions. It's as if we were behind the scenes of our own existence, glimpsing revelations that remain, invisible to those who aren't paying attention to the signs. And these impressions aren't limited to talents or fears. They manifest in the relationships we establish, the bonds we feel intensely, or the sensations that arise when visiting unfamiliar places. Have you ever entered a space and felt an inexplicable familiarity, or met someone and experienced an immediate empathy, as if the connection had crossed time? Emmanuel explains that these moments are echoes of past lives, fragments that persist so we can understand patterns, reframe emotions, and become aware of how our past experiences shape our decisions today. When we begin to notice these clues, our perception of reality transforms, and everyday life begins to reveal layers of meaning that previously went unnoticed. Furthermore, Emmanuel teaches us that these experiences play a clear role in the soul's evolution. The challenges we face, the difficulties that seem to repeat themselves, and the patterns that insist on resurfacing are not punishments, but learning opportunities. Each obstacle carries with it a lesson from previous lives, and how we deal with it directly impacts our present and future trajectory. When we begin to interpret these signs, we realize that the choices we make are not only the result of external circumstances, but also of a spiritual continuity that guides us, sometimes subtly, other times intensely, so that we can evolve. And the most interesting thing is that this awareness allows us to look at past experiences with a new perspective, understanding that talents, passions, fears, and relationships are elements of a grand narrative that spans time. Perhaps you've felt, without realizing it, that certain situations repeat themselves in your life, or that certain encounters are not merely coincidental. Emmanuel shows us that these events carry profound meanings. It's revelations that only become clear when we open ourselves to perceive the continuity of the soul and the intelligence behind each experience. Every sensation, every intuition, every emotion that arises is an opportunity to access the hidden truth that connects past, present, and future. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because as we explore these memories and patterns, we realize that our existence is much more interconnected and complex than we imagine. Every natural talent that emerges, every inexplicable attraction, every lesson we insist on learning is part of an ongoing transformation of our consciousness. Our mindset, our decisions, our feelings, everything carries the impact of past experiences, revealing the depth of the soul's journey and teaching us that nothing happens by chance. It's fascinating to see how these signs are present in details we often overlook, and how by understanding them, we can begin to live with greater clarity, purpose, and awareness of the impact each decision has on our spiritual evolution. And when we begin to observe these experiences carefully, we begin to notice patterns that help us better understand who we are, how we relate to one another, and what we truly need to learn now. It's as if we're accessing a kind of invisible map of our lives, revealing hidden truths, deep emotional connections, and opportunities for transformation that until now remained hidden. Every memory, every intuition, every sense of familiarity is an invitation to delve deeper into self-knowledge, revealing how much our existence is intertwined with previous lives and how this influences every step of our journey. And by opening our eyes to this realization, we become able to understand that every challenge, every talent, and every emotion has a greater purpose, a reason for being that transcends time and circumstances. We begin to realize that our life is not a sequence of isolated events, but a series of carefully interwoven lessons. With profound impacts on our journey and the way we interact with the world, it is at this point that learning becomes transformative. And each revelation brings us closer to a deeper understanding of our soul and the journey we are on. Comment there. That makes sense to me. Have you ever had that feeling that everything around you has somehow happened before? That certain situations seem all too familiar, as if your soul were remembering something it experienced in another time. Perhaps you've experienced an encounter that seemed predestined or felt an instant connection with someone you just met, for no apparent reason. According to Emmanuel, spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier and became a reference in spiritual messages and psychography. These experiences are not just coincidences or figments of our imagination. They are clear signs of reincarnation, clues the soul leaves for itself. Subtle memories of past lives that continue to shape our journey in the present. Stay with me, because what you discover now may reveal hidden truths about who you truly are and the path your soul has taken over time. Emmanuel teaches us that reincarnation is not a distant or theoretical concept, but something extremely real and present in our daily lives. Every feeling of déjà vu, every unexpected talent, every inexplicable fear or intense passion can be interpreted as a spiritual memory that has spanned different lifetimes. Have you ever wondered why some abilities emerge naturally, effortlessly, or why certain emotions recur in your life even without logical explanation? Each of these manifestations is an opportunity to perceive the behind the scenes of our own existence, to understand the impact of previous lives on our decisions, mindset, and current relationships. It's as if we were accessing an invisible script of our own history, where every detail carries an important lesson. Imagine your soul as an ancient traveler, traversing different times, places, and experiences, accumulating lessons that gradually reveal themselves. These lessons can emerge in very subtle forms: an instant empathy for someone, an inexplicable attraction to a place, or a sense of familiarity with a historical period you've never studied. Perhaps you've already felt this without realizing it, a silent recognition that goes beyond logic, kind of inner memory that insists on revealing itself. Emmanuel teaches us that these insights don't arise by chance. They are fragments of experiences that continue to guide us, challenging us to understand patterns that span lives and extract from them the wisdom necessary to evolve beyond sensations and affinities. There are signs that manifest themselves more concretely in everyday life. For example, have you ever encountered an inexplicable fear? Something that appears out of nowhere and seems to have roots in something very ancient? Or, conversely, have you ever experienced a talent or skill that manifests naturally, as if it had already been trained before you were born into this life? Emmanuel explains that these signs are reminders of lessons not fully assimilated from previous lives, which we still carry with us to learn and transform. It's fascinating to realize that every challenge, every intuition, every emotional impulse can be a revelation about what our soul has already experienced and still needs to understand. Another revealing point is the way relationships present themselves. Have you ever felt an immediate affinity or an inexplicable tension with someone you just met? Emmanuel suggests that these connections are echoes of past bonds, relationships that may have been harmonious or conflicting, but which continue to manifest so we can reframe experiences and learn to deal with them more consciously. Every friendship, every love, every conflict carries the mark of a larger story, a continuity of the soul that transcends time and teaches us about empathy, forgiveness, and understanding. And then there are dreams and flashbacks. Those moments when our minds transport us to scenarios or situations that seem real, even though we've never experienced them in this life. Emmanuel considers these episodes as fragments of past lives that become visible to alert us, teach us, or simply make us reflect on patterns that persist in our existence. It's like opening an old book, discovering pages that belong to us, and realizing that everything we experience now is connected to something much larger. A complex web of experiences that spans time and shapes our trajectory. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because when we begin to observe these signs carefully, we realize that they are not isolated. Every sense of familiarity, every unexpected talent, every persistent fear or intense bond is part of a vast web of learning, a hidden truth that connects past, present, and future. Emmanuel teaches us that recognizing these signs is not just a matter of spiritual curiosity, but an opportunity for profound transformation. Every detail of our existence becomes meaningful, and our mindset begins to shift, allowing for more conscious decisions, more genuine relationships, and a clearer understanding of the impact of our actions and choices on the evolution of our soul. And as we delve into these signs, we realize that our current life carries not only our own experiences, but also the legacy of all previous lives. Every memory, every emotion, every skill or fear is a piece of a larger puzzle, which reveals itself as we open ourselves to understanding the continuity of our existence. This realization transforms the way we view our own story, showing that every challenge, every connection, and every intuition is part of a journey that is much greater than we imagine. By observing these clues, we understand that signs of reincarnation are powerful tools for self-knowledge and spiritual evolution. They help us perceive behavioral patterns, reframe past experiences, find purpose in the most complex or challenging situations. Every natural talent, every unexpected passion, every inexplicable fear, every intense bond is an opportunity to access previously hidden revelations and transform our perception of ourselves, others, and life as a whole. And when we begin to integrate these perceptions into our daily lives, we begin to perceive life with greater clarity, purpose, and sensitivity. Each experience ceases to be just an isolated event and becomes part of a larger narrative, sequence of learnings that spans different lives and profoundly impacts our journey. Recognizing and interpreting these signs allows us to make more conscious decisions, develop a more open mindset, connected to our soul's true purpose, and understand the real impact of our choices, both in the present and in the future. And as we explore these memories, talents, fears, and relationships, we come closer to a broader understanding of who we are, where we come from, and what our soul still needs to learn. Every perception, every intuition, every sense of familiarity becomes a piece of an invisible map that reveals patterns, hidden truths, and opportunities for transformation that previously went unnoticed. It's as if we're uncovering the hidden depths of our existence, discovering that everything that happens to us, every detail of our emotions and decisions, has a deeper meaning and a reason for being connected to the soul's continuity and the illusion of consciousness. Comment there. I'm on this journey too. If you've made it this far, you've probably already begun to sense that your life isn't just a sequence of isolated events, but part of a much larger journey, a continuous flow that spans time, experiences, and learning. Emmanuel shows us that understanding our past lives isn't an exercise in idle curiosity. It's actually a key to spiritual growth and the transformation of our mindset. Every challenge we face, every talent that emerges naturally, every fear that insists on recurring carries with it lessons that our soul still needs to integrate. When we can see these signs, we begin to perceive life with a new depth, as if we were peering behind the scenes of our own existence, accessing hidden truths that shape our decisions, our relationships, and even the impact we have on the world around us. Imagine for a moment that every experience you have today is a continuation of something that began long ago. In another era, with a different version of yourself, every friendship, every love, every difficulty or achievement is an opportunity to perceive patterns, understand emotions, and reframe choices. Emmanuel always emphasized that the soul is like a traveler, carrying memories and lessons from many lives, and that these memories are not only stored but manifest in subtle and sometimes surprising ways. Perhaps you've already felt this without realizing it. That sense of déjà vu, inexplicable talent, the attraction to people or places that seem to carry ancient stories. All of this is the soul's way of showing us that we are always evolving, always learning, always connected to something greater than ourselves. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because when we begin to observe these connections closely, we realize that a true transformation is taking place within us. It's not just about recognizing past experiences. It's about understanding how they influence our mindset, our decisions, and our ability to deal with the challenges of the present. Every detail of daily life, an unexpected emotion, a defining encounter. An intuition that emerges from nowhere is a piece of a larger puzzle. An opportunity to access revelations that were hidden, waiting to reveal the complete journey of the soul. When we see life this way, we begin to perceive the true impact of each choice, each action, and understand that we are simultaneously shaping the present and the future of our own essence. And it's not just about us as individuals. This awareness creates a sense of invisible community, a connection with all souls who share the same quest for understanding and evolution. Emmanuel reminds us that by recognizing the signs of past lives, we are not only learning about ourselves, but also about how to interact with others in a more conscious and empathetic way. Every emotion, every experience, every relationship is an opportunity to practice compassion, forgiveness, and understanding fundamental tools. It's for spiritual transformation and for building a more balanced and fulfilling life. This awareness also leads us to reflect on the impact our actions have on the world. When we understand that each choice carries with it accumulated lessons from past lives, we begin to act with more responsibility, more attention, and more purpose. Our trajectory becomes a sequence of conscious decisions, guided not only by momentary desire, but by the deep understanding that each action reverberates in our evolution and the evolution of those around us. It's as if we are accessing the backstage of a much larger narrative, discovering hidden truths that help us understand the true meaning of our experiences and allowing us to align our present life with the lessons learned from the past. And as this awareness deepens, we begin to notice patterns that previously went unnoticed, emotions that recur, talents that emerge naturally, relationships that seem steeped in history. Each of these signs is an invitation to reflect on our own journey, to question our choices, our fears, and our passions, and to realize that we are always evolving. Emmanuel shows us that this awareness is fundamental because it allows us to interpret the world more broadly, see opportunities for growth, and transform each challenge into an opportunity for real learning, with a lasting impact on our lives and the lives of those around us. And if you stop and think about it, each life we live is like a chapter in a larger book, a continuous narrative that extends beyond time and circumstance. Every experience, no matter how small, has a purpose, a reason for being, and carries with it the impact of previous lives. When we begin to see things this way, we realize that everything we feel, everything we experience, and everything we achieve is part of a journey of self-knowledge, transformation, and spiritual growth. It is at this point that life ceases to be merely a sequence of events and becomes an opportunity for conscious evolution, an invitation to observe every detail in the light of past experiences, understanding what our soul is learning now and how these lessons shape our trajectory. And as we reflect on this, we become more attentive to the small clues life offers us: an unexpected encounter, an intense emotion, a guiding intuition, or even a sense of familiarity with something we've never experienced before. All these signs are opportunities to deepen our perception, to better understand our own essence, and to realize how our past lives continue to impact the way we live, feel, and relate to each other today. It's a journey of discovery, transformation, and continuous revelation that brings us closer to the hidden truth that Emmanuel presents to us, showing us that every detail of the present is, in fact, a reflection of a much greater learning experience. Comment there, that makes sense to me?